Shalom. Do you ever wonder what happened to the ancient biblical names of the nations, and why were they replaced with new modern-day names? And why are there so many places mentioned in the Bible that we can't find on the map today? It's because the names of these people and these places have been changed. And the wicked entities have made it so difficult for us to connect the ancient biblical names to the people and territories of modern-day names today. Furthermore, if you type in an ancient biblical name into the Google search bar, more than likely you will only come up with the territory and not the people who actually occupied the land with their ancient nationality and name of the land. Examining this ancient biblical names of people groups chart, I would like to look down at Gomer, Javan, Magog, and Mizraim. Let's also take a look at these ones up at the top: Ammon, Amorites, Ashkenaz, Asherites, Assyria, Canaanites, and Cush. And while this chart may not be perfect, I'm trying to give you an idea of the message that I'm conveying. It shows Ammon, Moab, and Edom. The current name or region is Jordan. Then if you go to the Amorites, it says the current name or region is Eastern Israel. Then we go down to the Ashkenaz, and it says the current name or region is Germany. Then you go to Asherites, it's northern Iraq. Assyria, Iraq. And the Canaanites, the current name or region, northern Israel and southern Lebanon. If you look at Cush, it says Ethiopia and some of Sudan, Somalia, and Yemen, and possibly more of northern Africa. Now let's look at Gomer, the current name or region. Ukraine, and some suggest Germany. Javan is Greece. Magog, Rus, and Rush, the current name or region, is Russia. Then go down to Mizraim. It's Egypt, in which I mentioned in one of my previous studies that Egypt is Mizraim in the Hebrew language, in which means bondage, where the Israelites were enslaved for a time. One of the questions that no one's really asking is if Magog is Russia and Gomer's Ukraine and Javan is Greece, why are these people claiming to be the Israelites? These are the people who are occupying the land of so-called Israel now. And as I continue to scan down this list, in which is a lot larger than what I'm showing you on the screen, the Israelites are not on the list. Now let's do something that not many people do anymore, and that's think on our own. Let's look at this word culture. It says, the arts and other manifestations of human intellectual achievement regarded collectively. The customs, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. To put this into perspective, this is the customs, laws, arts, beliefs, foods, knowledge, capabilities, and habits of the individuals in these specific groups. So let's take a closer look and examine the characteristics of culture, something that the so-called black people don't have. But why? Why are the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called black people, lost? I'll tell you why. Culture is learned. It is shared. It takes time to develop. and it is transmitted across generations. One vital thing to remember is that culture is essential for life. When people become isolated from his or her culture, unaccepted by the majority of the culture, and has a lack of social support, a consequent sense of rejection, alienation, and poor self-esteem may occur. As a response to the loss of one's culture, this causes grief, or what they call bereavement. Bereavement has been associated with psychotic, anxiety, and mood disorders. Identity is the totality of one's perception of self, or how we as individuals view ourselves as unique from others. Social identity can be thought of as the cultural defined personality characteristics which are ascribed to social roles, such as the role of being a father, mother, friend, employer or employee, etc. Ethnicity is a source of social identity. Ethnic groups are composed of people who may or may not share the same roles, but do share common cultural characteristics, including history, beliefs, values, food, entertainment preferences, religion, and language. Ethnicity typically incorporates both race and culture. The components of cultural identity include religion, rites of passage, language, dietary habits, and leisure activities. Religious rituals and beliefs, even if not followed as an adult, make up a key component of an individual's cultural identity. Religion can preserve values within the community and foster a sense of belonging. Rites of passage are important in the development of an individual's cultural identity. Following these rites or rituals is bound to influence the degree to which an individual will be accepted within the cultural group. Language, both written and spoken, is a cultural marker. Why am I covering cultural characteristics today? Well, let me tell you why. According to the Bible, after Yahuwah created the flood to wipe the earth clean from its sins, there were only 8 people left alive. Amongst these survivors were Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. Elohim then told Noah and his 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, to be fruitful and multiply. In order to fulfill their assignment, each of Noah's sons were given their own land as an inheritance for them and their children. Ham, Noah's youngest son, was given the entire northeast section of Africa. Shem, Noah's middle son, was given the Middle Eastern countries. And Japheth, Noah's oldest son, was given the entire land of Europe. And keep in mind that all of Noah's sons were black: Ham, Shem, and Japheth. Ham had 4 sons, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan, and they each inherited a portion of their dad's land in northeast Africa. Ham's first son, Cush, represents the land of Ethiopia. His second son, Mizraim, represents the land of Egypt and is also known as Kemet. His third son, Put, represents the land of Libya, which is located on the left of Egypt, and his fourth son, Canaan, represents the land of Israel, which is located on the right of Egypt. We already know that Ham's sons were black because they inhabited the lands of Africa, both then and now, and this is where black people in general came from, not to mention the fact that the word Ham in Hebrew is Koam, which means hot, black, and burnt. Noah's second son Shem had 5 sons, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram, and they each received a portion of what we now call the Middle East. His first son, Elam, was given a small portion of modern-day Iran. His second son, Asher, was given a small portion of modern-day Iraq. His third son, Arphaxad, was given the land of the modern-day Baghdad, and his fourth son, Lud, was given a small piece of land on the southwest of present-day Turkey, which is on the bottom half of Europe, and his fifth son, Aram, was given the land of modern-day Syria. Japheth had 7 sons, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus, and they each received a portion of Europe. Gomer received the land of modern-day Ukraine. Magog received the land of modern-day Russia. Madai received the land of modern-day Persia. Javan received the land of modern-day Greece. Tubal received the land of modern-day Armenia. Meshach received the land of Turkey, and Tyrus received the land of modern-day France. Of course, these lands today are now occupied by Caucasian people, but in ancient times they were all occupied by black people. Today, the majority of people living in these lands are mostly Caucasian, but in biblical times, before these nations of people were conquered and sold into slavery, they were black just like the children of Ham and everyone else in the world. If you know your biblical genealogy, then you know that Jacob was the offspring of Shem and the progenitor of Elohim's chosen people, and the future owner of the land of Canaan, in which can be found in Genesis chapter 35, verses 10 through 12. As a result of Jacob's name change, his children were all called Israelites and were promised the land of Canaan as their inheritance. As we continue to deal with these hidden ancient names of lands and people, I want to look at the fact that when people think about the Middle East today, the thought of black people being the original inhabitants of Israel or Canaan does not cross their minds at all. Instead, what we think of is a picture of the Caucasian Jews wearing black top hats and long beards. This explains why our people think the Bible is a white man's book, because all of the people who claim to be Yahuwah's chosen people today are Caucasian. But if you read your Bible and do your own due diligence in studying, you will find out that the biblical Israelites are black. And since the Israelites, all 12 of Jacob's sons, all come from the bloodline of Noah's middle son Shem, this confirms our original point that Shem and his children were black, just like the children of Ham. That concludes my video for today. Thank you all for listening. I hope that this has been edifying to your spirits, and may the Most High bless you and keep you and your family safe in this dark hour. And I just wanted to add, if you want to support my channel, I do have a Cash App. You can just click the description box and it should be there. And also, for those of you who do not know, I do original Hebrew artwork, and these are some of my originals that I've done. You can find me on my in my art store. I'll leave that in the description box as well. I do commissions. If you would like me to paint something for you specifically, you could just reach out to me via email, in which is in my description box as well. Again, thank you for listening, and may Yahuwah bless you and keep you and your family safe. Shalom.